The internet is the greatest archive we will have in our lifetimes. Media that was once considered lost forever has been rediscovered and now exists in a place where everyone can enjoy it. Radiohead have existed for over 30 years under their current name and even go back to the early 80s when the band members first worked together at Abingdon School in Oxford. The band have straddled the transition from analog to digital, and their rabid fan base has archived almost everything. You've probably seen Lost Media Icebergs before, and they're mostly the same: creepy music and unnerving visual effects, which is a bit stupid because it's just bits of audiovisual gumph that we can't currently see or hear, so bear with me. There we go. Right, I've no idea how to construct a Lost Media Iceberg. I think we start with the most well-known stuff at the top and the really obscure stuff at the bottom. If you're not a big Radiohead fan, then this is all going to be obscure to you anyway. So, let's go. In February 1993, Radiohead released the single Anyone Could Play Guitar, and it was a minor hit, reaching number 32 in the UK charts. In May of that year, the band decided to release a follow-up, and they had plenty of songs to choose from, including Creep and just Creep. They didn't choose Creep. Instead, they decided to release a brand new song called Pop Is Dead. Things did not go according to plan. The song was a god-awful abomination, the video was even worse, and the song did not chart. The band members quickly began to despise the song. Over the years, that hatred seems to have turned into open hostility. Now, Pop Is Dead is not lost media. Physical copies of the single are readily available and usually in pristine condition, because who the hell is going to put that in their stereo? But the band are trying to make it lost media. They're really trying. And in a few years' time, who knows? As soon as Radiohead acquired the rights to their back catalogue, Pop Is Dead disappeared from streaming sites. Radiohead have taken steps, some might say rather draconian steps, to try and scrub the song from the internet entirely. Uploading the video on YouTube will result in an immediate takedown request, even if you put it through a ton of filters. Other video sharing sites have been spared the band's infernal wrath, such as this link to Vimeo, which I implore you not to follow because that would clearly be against the band's wishes, and it would break my heart if anyone were to disrespect them. Please do not click on this link or the one in the description, please. However, it's surely only a matter of time before the band goes after the smaller video sharing sites as well. Other videos of the time, such as this one for Anyone Could Play Guitar and the infamously terrible Stop Whispering video, have also been subject to the band's blind hatred, but none of them seems to suffer the same fury as Pop Is Dead. If you do watch the video, you'll probably see why. In 1998, Radiohead were toying with the idea of releasing Letdown as a single. As the monstrous OK Computer tour reached its climax, the band members became exhausted and the enthusiasm to promote another single faded away. A concept video was made and is available on YouTube, but the band were unhappy with the result and decided to can the project, at great financial cost to themselves. Now, the video on YouTube is claimed by some to be the actual official video that the band rejected. However, I don't think it was. According to some sources, the band paid £100,000 for this video, and it doesn't look like something that would have cost that sort of money today, let alone in 1998. It's not known whether the video was ever actually finished before they changed their minds, and we may never know. All of the band's first 6 albums were advertised during commercial breaks on British television. I've only been able to find 2, one for the Bends, which is basically just a portion of the Street Spirit music video with Mark Goodyear at the end imploring you to buy the bloody thing, and the other is this advert for Kid A. Now, I said there was nothing creepy about this iceberg, but I vaguely remember seeing this late at night on Channel 4 and it scared the shit out of me. There are many internet archivists who collect old British ad breaks, and old adverts are very popular on lost media forums. so it's possible that the missing commercials do exist somewhere, but I haven't found them. Haven't really looked, to be honest. Radiohead were early adopters of the internet, and so were many of their fans, who, in the days before you could just post pictures of shitty tattoos and bad cover versions on Reddit, had to create their own websites in order to pay homage to the band. Some of these websites, like Attease, Green Plastic and Follow Me Around, became very popular indeed, and Tom even played Follow Me Around in October 2000 for the owner of the aforementioned website who was attending the show. But these websites have largely disappeared. The webmasters found their spare time more and more stretched as real-life responsibilities piled up. Others were hosted on sites like Angel Fire and GeoCities, which closed down many years ago and were not properly archived. Others simply received so few visitors that it wasn't worth continuing, but for those of us who were glued to the internet between 1999 and 2002, the Wayback Machine provides a wonderful nostalgia trip. Sadly, much of the content did not survive the archival process and is probably gone forever. Some Radiohead fans know about the Lost Letdown video, but did you know that there may be a video for We Suck Young Blood? Here's Tom.
Paul Thomas Anderson came to the studio and he brought this camera with him, which was a 1920s. It was exactly the same camera model that they shot the original Nosferatu on, which is all, the original Nosferatu, it's basically this camera is just a box and you wind it. And and you have to have sort of a tempo to wind it to, and if you wind it fast or slow, you get this extraordinary movement. And we wanted to sort of shoot this really over-the-top vaudeville sort of B-movie thing with it, because that to me was totally where it was coming from,
So there we have it. Paul Thomas Anderson, who would later collaborate with Tom on many projects, shot some footage for a potential video. And that's all we know. How much footage was there? Was it ever edited into a video? Does the footage still exist? We may never know. We Suck Young Blood was released on the band's 6th album, Hail to the Thief, in 2003. It was never a popular track, and more than one band member expressed their regret at its inclusion. Tom's revised tracklist does not include this song, so it's likely that the video will never see the light of day, if it even exists. There is a very, very obscure B-side called India Rubber. Once upon a time, this was actually quite a popular song within the Radiohead community, despite the stupid laughing that spoils the last minute of the song. Over the years, more albums were released, and the track fell into obscurity. But unlike other equally obscure tracks like Molasses, Coke Babies and Melatonin, India Rubber was played live at a show in Montreal in December 95. Tom York was not terribly happy with the performance, and despite being sound-checked once or twice in 97, India Rubber never saw the light of day again. Ed O'Brien once mentioned finding a bag full of old DAT tapes, and described them as live recordings of shows dating back to about the mid-90s. And someone from the audience might have taped the show, so it's possible that a recording will surface one day. Until then, India Rubber remains the only Radiohead song that the band have played live where no recording is available. In 2010, Peter Gabriel released an interesting album called Scratch My Back, in which he covered various tunes from other artists. In return, each artist would contribute their own cover of a Peter Gabriel track for another album, And I'll Scratch Yours, which was eventually released in 2013. Gabriel covered Street Spirit, and was expecting Radiohead to cover Wallflower in return. However, Radiohead was so disgusted with Gabriel's rendition, and to be fair it is bloody awful, that they ceased all communications immediately. It is not known whether they recorded Wallflower and simply refused to hand it over, or if they never even got round to it. In 2019, a Reddit user called Zimbra announced that they had acquired several digital copies of minidiscs from Radiohead's own private cloud server. How they acquired them, and their reasons for making the announcement, were matters of intense speculation. In the end, it turned out that Zimbra was merely a trader of rare and interesting recordings touting for business. Eventually, after days of enormous pressure, Zimbra released the recordings to the public. The mini-discs were recorded between 95 and 97, while the band were recording OK Computer, and contain a panoply of live recordings, studio fragments, experimental tracks, ambient recordings, and many demos recorded by Tom, most of which were completely unknown to the public. The leak comprised 18 mini-discs and almost 17 hours of material. A few weeks later, the band themselves, somewhat bemused by the level of interest in these recordings, made the mini-discs available as an official paid download, with proceeds going to Extinction Rebellion. The download was later deleted, but the mini-discs can still be found on archive.org. But the first mini-disc bears the number 111, suggesting that the 18 we now have was merely the tip of the iceberg. See what I did there? And you can bet your ass the band have tightened their security since then, so it's very unlikely that we'll ever hear them. If you browse the setlist for November 1997, you'll see the kind of setlist you'd expect. Lots of tracks from OK Computer and the Bends, a couple from Pablo Honey, and one or two B-sides to pad out the show. But in Munich, the band played a cover of South Central Rain by R.E.M. R.E.M. were a massive influence on Radiohead, but as with India Rubber, no recording of this performance has ever surfaced. Radiohead have been popular for 30 years now. They've given many concerts, and some of them, naturally, have been broadcast on television. But concerts are rarely broadcast completely live, and most are cut down for timing reasons. So it's safe to assume that there must be many hours of Radiohead footage lying on cutting room floors. Radiohead made an appearance on French television channel Canal Plus in 2001. It looks like a flawless performance, and the rendition of How to Disappear Completely is especially wonderful. However, what you're seeing was not the band's first attempt. According to sources who attended the recording, the band were deeply unhappy with the quality of their performance, and several tracks were played more than once. At one point, the band left the studio to get their heads together. These bloopers were presumably recorded, but it's likely we'll never see them. BBC Radio 4 has a daily show called the Today programme. It's a news and current affairs show which occasionally has guest editors. In a 2002 episode, the guest editor was none other than Tom York, and included an opinion piece from the man himself. Unfortunately, the show appears to have gone. There are real player links at the bottom of the page, but they don't seem to work anymore. In 2003, Radiohead invited fans to create tracks based on very short samples known as loops. I can't remember who won the contest or what the winning entry sounded like, but a total of 83 samples could be downloaded from Radiohead.com. Most of these samples have been lost. CitizenInsane.eu, a brilliant website which sadly isn't maintained anymore, carries a few of them, scattered about its many pages. You can access Radiohead's website using the Wayback Machine, but even those download links are inactive, and presumably the files were deleted many years ago. Radiohead aficionados will know that Mushroom Cloud was the name of the first song ever written by Tom York. It's not known if any recordings exist at all, and nothing else is known about this song. The Jonathan Hale book From a Great Height, released in 1998, makes mention of a song called The Chains, which was written and recorded at the beginning of the 90s, when the band was still called On a Friday. Several demo tapes were released around this time, as the band, then unsigned and relatively obscure, were trying to market themselves. The Chains appears on none of those demo tapes. Tom described it as the band's attempt to sound like the Waterboys, and apparently features a viola, presumably played by Johnny. Old demos do very occasionally appear. For example, a demo tape from 1986 was leaked online only a couple of years ago, but don't hold your breath. Okay, this one's kind of a joke, and the X knew about 9/11 accusations have almost become a meme at this stage, but there are a few freaky coincidences. Take these images, for example, released as part of the Amnesiac artwork in May 2001, 4 months before the fall of the Twin Towers. Here's a picture of two towers, and here's a picture of two towers on fire, and interspersed throughout the artwork are pictures of people crying. Probably just a coincidence. Then there's the big issue. The big issue is a magazine sold by homeless people in the UK, in an attempt to make them more visible and give them a small income. In January 2001, Tom gave an interview for the magazine. I remember buying a copy, and Tom definitely made a remark about planes crashing into buildings, but I can't find a copy of the text. But like I said, this is just a joke for the final entry, and it's probably just a massive coincidence, and maybe even a false memory. Hold on a second. Late in the day, I found a copy of the article in the aforementioned citizeninsane.eu website, and it's exactly as I remembered.
Hello, I'm Jemery Clarkson, and I'm here to advertise the new Radiohead DVD, featuring all your favorite music videos, including Karma Police, Polaroid Hemorrhoid, High and Dry, Creep, and of course Pop is Dead. Oh come on, that video is 30 years old, surely it's time to let go.
No!
Don't you think you're being a little bit petty?
No!
The fans love to see it,
No!
and it's really not that bad.
No!
Oh well. I guess Tom has spoken. This means that I, Jeremel Clarkson, am finally defeated. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see Pop is Dead on YouTube again. It won't do anything, but all the fucking YouTubers are saying shit like this now.